Hello and welcome to the John Ark Show. Today's show is called Best Movies on Netflix during the week of April 11th, 2020. Are you having a hard time finding good movies on Netflix? Well, I've got a list of some of the best movies on there this week, as well as the reasons that you should consider watching them. Before we begin, I want to encourage you to subscribe, like, follow, and comment on the show, as well as tell you that the show is sponsored by HollywoodIsCalling.com. It's a company that allows you to purchase live calls with hundreds of celebrities. The calls vary in price from $19.95 to $29.95. And the calls are all real and they are made live. So give it a try. HollywoodIsCalling.com. Now let's get started. As usual, there are a lot of movies out there this week, and most of them are not worth watching. However, we've filtered through all that, and we've come up with a list of some really good ones that you should consider. So if you're looking for some great grown-up movies, not kid movies, these are not kid-friendly movies, but grown-up movies, then here's the list that you should take a look at. This week I'm selecting a lot of thrillers and action movies because I know a lot of you people are at home, you're bored, you're probably getting some cabin fever, and you want some excitement in your life. What better than an action movie? Some of these movies are new, some of them are old classics, but either way, they are excellent movies for a variety of reasons. The first one is called Operation Odessa. This is a real-life crime documentary that is so insane and true that most people's jaws hit the floor when they see what's happening on the screen. It is amazing. People who've been watching another documentary on Netflix called The Tiger King and who think that's over the top will be stunned to find out at how conventional it seems to what they see in Operation Odessa. Believe me when I tell you that Tiger King is nothing compared to Operation Odessa for a number of reasons. First of all, Odessa is just, it focuses on the extreme criminal activity of a group of mobsters. And also, when life and death are, constantly on the line, that heightens up the entertainment value for some reason. It just does. If you enjoyed a documentary called The Cocaine Cowboys a few years ago, then you will love this documentary. Operation Odessa is Cocaine Cowboys times 10. It's simultaneously funny, insane, over the top, and thrilling. But it's also interesting at how intelligent some of the mobsters in this documentary are. That adds a whole new level of enjoyment to it all. What's interesting about the mobsters in Operation Odessa is that they do whatever crime they want to do whenever they want to do it. If they can dream it up, they simply go out and do it. It's like watching a bunch of criminals who've had their conscience, their sense of boundaries, their sense of right and wrong, their sense of normalcy, all surgically removed from their brains. And this allows them to function in the criminal world in a completely unbridled way. It's really interesting. If these guys dream something up, they simply do it. And this allows them to move fearlessly throughout the criminal world. Well, what else I find interesting about this documentary is how none of these criminals ever suffer from thinking too small. No matter how big and crazy their criminal schemes and con jobs are, it has no bearing on their desire to do it. They never think, oh no, that's too crazy, let's not do it. That does not even enter their thought process. There's none of the modern, fuzzy, safe space, thumb-sucking thinking that you see so commonly displayed out there by people in our society. They're all looking for a safe space to hide in. They're all looking for somebody to save them from the last scary word that they heard. These criminals don't suffer from any of that nonsense. This movie should be made mandatory viewing for every young sociopath currently enrolled in some MBA program somewhere. Now, the next movie is called Deep Impact. This is a movie about a comet hurling towards Earth that could destroy the entire planet. While the US government tries to keep everything secret, There's a reporter out there doing her best to uncover the truth. The U.S. government, the U.S. president, played by Morgan Freeman, is doing everything he can to save the planet, and things don't always work out the way he hopes they will. What really makes the movie so good is the fact that the acting and the writing are so compelling. And also, even if you've seen the movie before, if you watch it with a current set of eyes and a current perspective, knowing what's going on out there with the pandemic and how there are no people walking the streets anymore, then the stark images you see in this movie no longer seem as crazy or as improbable. It's an interesting new perspective to watch the movie with. The next excellent movie on Netflix is called Road to Perdition. It's a gangster movie starring Tom Hanks and Paul Newman, and it is beautifully filmed. Without telling you too much, this is a gangster movie about a hitman that experiences something really terrible in his life, and that experience drives him to do a series of events, um, and force him to go on a mission that threatens his life at every twist and turn. First of all, it's a period movie, and it's stunningly photographed. Whether it's the scenes shot in, Chicago, or the scenes shot in rural areas, you literally get lost in the beauty of the cinematography. It is that striking. The movie also stars two other great actors, and that is Paul Newman and Daniel Craig. In addition to being a really great looking movie, it's also one which harkens back to an era when people were shocked to see others breaking the rules on such an extraordinary level. Today we live in an era when everybody breaks all the rules all the time in an attempt to capture the attention of other people for their social media accounts or for their careers or other such nonsense. But the world was different back then. The world was a bit more restrained and unwilling to tolerate behavior like that. And if it did see it, it was quite shocking to people back then. Unlike today. Today, people go out of their way to manufacture chaos and confusion at every twist and turn, and in order to attention seek. But back then, the world was a kinder, gentler place. Both the writing and the acting in this movie are so memorable that it just haunts you after you see it. The next movie is called Molly's Game. This movie is a true story about an Olympic athlete named Molly Bloom. And when her career as an Olympic skier comes to an end, she goes on to run a high-stakes poker game for more than 10 years. Now, the thing about this game is that it attracts so many celebrities, VIPs, athletes, mobsters, all sorts of dignitaries, that it can't help but attract the attention of law enforcement. And in this case, it's the FBI. Now, since it is a true story, eventually it shows how Molly's arrested and how she is prosecuted. What's interesting here is that the movie is written and directed by Aaron Sorkin. And Aaron's a very intelligent screenwriter, and he imbues almost all his characters in all his movies with intelligent dialogue. Like even the secondary players, the bit players, the co-stars, everybody's dialogue is interesting. It propels the story forward, and that makes the movie really more entertaining. Molly is played by actress Jessica Chastain, who portrays her with such intelligence, grace, and charm and beauty. She's very good looking. That it makes people who could care less about sports or gambling somehow, it makes them interested in the movie. It's a very compelling movie. It draws you in, and you don't, as I say, you don't have to be a fan of sports or gambling to be attracted to this. It's just really quality movie making. The next movie is Angel Has Fallen. This is a very intense action movie starring Gerard Butler and Morgan Freeman, and it's another one of his series of fallen movies. Washington Has Fallen, London Has Fallen. All of that. But this one is sort of a techno-military thriller. It's about a Secret Service agent who's taken into custody after the failed attempt of the assassination of the President of the United States, the man he was protecting during the assassination attempt. And he is taken into custody and interrogated and essentially accused of somehow participating in this assassination. And this causes him to want to escape. He runs away in an effort to find the people who are really responsible. I won't tell you more than that, other than to tell you that a lot of the high-tech technology used throughout the attack sequences is both very realistic and very dramatic. There's also an actor we haven't seen in a few years. Actor Nick Nolte is in this movie, and he is as great as ever. Now there's another documentary called Eddie Strongman. Eddie Strongman is a documentary about the life of an English strongman, and his name is Eddie Hall, and he attempts to become the strongest man in the world. Now, what's interesting and compelling about this movie is that it provides a look into the extraordinary lengths that a human being will go to and the sacrifices they will make in order to achieve something extraordinary and historic. What's great about this documentary is that it shows you don't need a lot of money, you don't need great contacts, you don't need something special. All you need to achieve something special in this world is an extraordinary amount of dedication, willpower, persistence, tenacity, and most importantly of all, an unbelievable work ethic. That is the key and the foundation to everything. We believe we're in a society now where too many people pursue instant gratification. They still believe they can achieve something great without much effort. Maybe if they make a video that goes viral, or maybe if they start dating a celebrity, or maybe if they do this or that. Oftentimes it just doesn't work that way in the real world. Most successful people, like Eddie, for example, have to put mountains of work in to achieve their goals. And that applies to, I think, most people in this world. Don't be seduced into believing that you're special, even though you've never achieved anything. Achieving something special is what defines you as extraordinary. Putting the work in to achieve the incredible amount of work to achieve something special is what defines you as extraordinary. The documentary features appearances by Arnold Schwarzenegger and a group of other characters and bodybuilders, all pursuing a similar dream in a similar way. Having said that, I want to wish you good luck. Thank you for watching, and we will talk to you soon.